For me, when I write a short story, it's all about the details. I was like, how much can I say with how little I'm telling you? But with novels, my focus is, okay, I want my character to get from point A to point B. Here's where they're ending. Let's fill the space. That's how I personally approach doing a novel.
Do you think that, in general, a short story focuses more on action than on long-term character development?
I think so.
I think that's not a fair thing to say, because I think this thing could be said for a novel, and for certain novels, and the same thing could not be said for certain short stories. I think you have some that are more focused on action, some that are more focused on character, some that are more focused
Spy
on...
novels would be more focused, I guess, on like crime novels would be more focused on action. There would be
yeah.
character development, but it would not be the primary focus.
Yeah, like for example, the short story that I'm getting published is very focused on character development. It doesn't have very much action in it. It's specifically about how this character comes to realize who they are and then decide what the hell to do about it. So I don't really think that's a fair generalization to make, because it really depends on the short story. You do have many which are very focused on action.
Well, that's why I said in general. Because, like we were saying, it's very hard to write concise language, and in a short story, more needs to be implied than stated. So,
I wouldn't necessarily
guess
say
I'll
that,
change-
but it does have to. A short story has to be a more economical form and use of words.
So I guess I'll change what I said before and say, is it easier to write a short story detailing action than character development?
Not necessarily.
I would say yes.
I would say no.
We have division among the ranks! Okay, now we have to explain why.
So I think it partially depends on the person, because some people suck at character development, some people suck at action, and just what your story is about.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to write about a short story about superheroes, it might be easier to talk about action. I mean, even there you could talk about how their character develops because of their superpowers.
When I say character development, I mean going through an entire emotional arc of, I'm oblivious to something that I need. I'm seeing something happening to me which is making me change my worldviews. I'm going through a small midlife crisis as my worldviews are changing, and then I am now at peace with the world. And my worldviews have just been
I've written
melted.
a short story where I put the first 3 points of those.
I think that it's perfectly doable to do that in a short story too.
Well, it's
to
because
portray a character. I think that a more fair statement would say that it's more difficult to give a full focus to both narrative and character.
Yes.
In a novel, you have, because again, it
You
comes
have
back to
more
the economy.
space.
In a novel, you can put everything forward and you can devote equal time to narrative and character and develop them both fully and explore every possible
And
elements.
one can lead the other.
Exactly. In short story, you don't necessarily have to choose between the two, but you have to be more focused on what you're exploring. There is in most short stories, generally speaking, and I think this is a good thing in short stories, you have one element that you're focusing on. Not necessarily you're focusing on character versus narrative, but you're focusing either on this specific event or this particular element of the character or this particular change in the character.
Yeah, because a lot of the short stories that I've read, like what you were saying, one of those things happens off screen. Either the short story is someone thinking about something, and you have to kind of guess what they're talking about. Usually it's something traumatic, and you have to guess whether they got in a car accident, have survivor's guilt, or fell out of love or something. Whereas in the alchemy story I was mentioning before, that is very focused on the action, and you have to guess what this character is feeling, why he's in the situation he got to. And in my class, we were guessing through very small pieces of evidence throughout the text. He was probably a slave trader who, during the Civil War, finally realized that what he was doing was wrong, and then he broke into the rebel camps in the South and got himself hung. And then the entire story is him having, a psychological journey before he dies. Yeah, that was a fun story to look at in class.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a total mindfuck at the end, because it's just like, that's actually what the story does. It has, like a ... his entire adventure, which takes up 15 pages, and then ... and he's still swinging there.
I think I read that.
Very
one. I
typical
actually
short
like that story.
stories.
Yeah.
Have that sort of focus. Again, the focus allows you to have often allows you to have greater impact on some unexpected or perhaps less usually considered element of the events or the character.
Without making the audience hate you. If they do that at the end of a novel, they will be bored. Also, people get bored and flip to the end of the novel, so it's spoiled anyway. Maybe it's just me.
No, I've heard a lot of people do that.
I used to
I
do
think
that. I
it's
used to
fairly
read the
common.
first chapter and then the last page. Didn't always explain things.
I
That's
wouldn't
why I
necessarily
like-
read out of order, but I will leaf forward and see how much further I have to go.
That's why I don't like ebooks, because I can't do that.
But you
I
can though. It's
can't
like the progression of Bob
Different
gets a bar.
tangent.
Oh,
guys.
okay. That's a new chapter.
Okay.
When they
Back on
finally talk
focus.
about that, I won't be here.
Yeah, Jesse, he's not here right now in the moment of time when this video happens. Not when it's recorded, when it happens.
Let's
You know
post
the
it.
internet is a form of time travel?
So is
True
light. Light is also a form of time travel. Like, see those stars which are drowned out by the city glow of orange and orange? That light has traveled through time, so we're actually seeing into the past when we look at the stars.
And sometimes there's deja vu. Wrong tangent, guys. Get back on topic.
And sometimes there's deja vu. Wrong tangent, guys! Get back on topic! Now you have to say it.
So, short stories. Should we summarize?
We should.
Okay.
Who would like to
Oh,
summarize?
goodness. So short stories are stories which are short. Thank you, Wikipedia. That was very insightful of you.
Oh, great
But
harbinger of knowledge.
The exact word length is debatable. It could be down to drabble length and possibly even fewer words, or it could be up to at least 20,000 words. And
At most 20,000.
how
Potentially
exactly how long a short story can be and still be a short story is very, very debatable. So we're not going to debate it again.
more. Highly dependent on author's intention, audience perception, and publisher standards.
Mhm.
And it has to be fiction.
Yes, it must be fiction.
To align with our previous definition.
So
Jesse doesn't agree with that definition, but he's been outvoted.
You're
short stories emphasize different things than novels tend to do, and they don't have as much room to balance both character development in depth and action, although you can certainly put both into one story, just not to the same extent that you would see in a novel.
They usually focus on one element of a particular situation, character, or narrative.
Which is how a short story becomes a novel, when the author starts to explore those and then realize, I have 50,000 words, what do I do now?
Write another 40,000.
Yes.
And another 40,000, and another 40,000, and then you have a series.
And then you make
exactly
millions.
how writing works, guys.
After you're done.
No, it is. I mean, you have an idea for a story, and then you find a hole in that idea, and then you fill it with words. And then you find another hole, and you fill that with words. And another, and another. It's a downward spiral into a Swiss cheese mansion.
And then at the end, you go back and you cut it up and butcher it and piece it back together.
With a red pen.
So that's how you write a novel after we've explained what a short story is. Thank you so much for watching our video.
Editing's
Have a
no
great day.
Bye!